Hey, it's Chin Gregory here, and in this video, I'm going to show you the fastest way that I know to get to $100,000 a month. The first time I built a business making $100,000 a month, I was working 14-hour days, and my wife was a consortium widow. This time around, most days I'm finished work by 2 p.m., and I can take 3 weeks off every single year. So that's the version we're building today. I'm going to cover two things. First off, the 4 phases that every coaching business has to go through, and how to figure out what phase you're in right now and how to get to that next phase. And secondly, the operating systems that I use to get buyers every single day, clients on easy mode, and scaling my income without increasing my hours. I bought 32 offers to over $100,000 a month for myself and my clients. So without further ado, let's go over to my computer and I'll walk you through the entire process. So there are 4 stages that you have to go through as an online expert in your business. And one of the most common mistakes people make is that they will use the strategies that aren't appropriate to where their business currently is. So the first stage is that you're a believer. And at this stage, you're probably doing between $0 and $5,000 a month. And at this stage, you haven't proven it yet, right? You haven't proven it to your family, you haven't proven it to your loved ones, and most importantly, you haven't proven it to yourself. What you're really doing at this stage is that you are working on the business when you can, you are dreaming of quitting your job, and your only goal here is proof, right? Prove that strangers will actually pay you for the stuff that you've created. Then the second stage is the hunter, and this is going to be between about $5,000 to $30,000 a month. At this stage, you eat what you kill, and if you don't kill anything, you don't eat. You're posting, sending DMs, you're taking calls, you're closing clients, but there's no real shape or structure to what you're doing. You're kind of throwing things at the wall, trying to see what sticks, and one week you might make 5K, another week you might make 18K. Like, your income is a proper roller coaster. And your only objective at this stage is to build the skills so that you can make money consistently and end that roller coaster of income. Then at stage 3 is probably one of the most dangerous stages. This is the gatherer, and this is between $30,000 and $100,000 a month. And this is where most coaches get to and just fizzle out, or get to and really struggle. And the reason why it's so dangerous is because you're winning, but it's killing you, okay? Your kids want to play, and it's always like, hey, buddy, later, I ain't got time. Your wife's like, I don't really see you. Can we take a month off? Can we take a holiday? And she's kind of joking, but she knows that, like, you're always working. And the reason this is happening is because the business that you built to get you to that stage is the same business that's keeping you trapped. Sales teams, setters, closers, posting constantly, VAs, demanding clients. You essentially built a business, but the business is now like a prison for you. Most coaches get stuck here because the thing that got them here is the same thing that's keeping them trapped. And maybe you were like me, where you've spent $20, $30, $40,000 on coaches and consultants and courses over the last couple of years trying to figure this stuff out. Maybe some of those coaches even burnt you because it's not their fault. It's just what got you here won't get you to that next stage. And it's all about getting the systems in place that will be able to grow your business without you being tied to it. And we're going to talk about that today. And so the coaches that really break through this stage, the ones that don't stay in that limbo until they burn out or either go back to having a job, the coaches that really break through that stage are the ones that figure out those systems. And then finally, we have the harvester. This is where we're trying to get to. And this is where you're doing $100,000 a month. The business, the systems that you built in the business, they actually generate income and revenue and results for you and your clients without you being involved in every single activity. Everything you built works on its own to make more money while giving you back more freedom. Say you take an entire month off during August. Well, you still made 120 grand that month. That's where we're trying to get to. Wife's happy, she's content, you're present at home, the kids get to spend time with you. You can, go to their recitals, their soccer practice, whatever it is, whatever life that you want, you're able to do that. Take 3 weeks off, right? And enjoy it. And everything works whether you are involved in or not. And what I want to say is, like, you're a lot closer to this than you actually think. So our goal is to get to stage 4. And I've done this for myself, and I've helped dozens of clients do this as well. And so what I want to do now is walk you through the frameworks of exactly how to get there, so you can kind of look at your business, see what you are missing, what you need, and exactly how you can get to this stage as well. Hey, real quick, if you've heard enough and you want to see what it'd be like to work together, I have a private mentorship program called The 100, and that's where I work with you one-on-one to build an online education business that gives you more money with less hours. Now, if you want to learn more details about that, just go ahead and hit me up on Instagram at I am Chin Gregory. Just send me the word, DM me the word harvest, so I know that you came from this video, and I'll send you all the details. Okay? All right, let's dive back into it. Okay, so let me walk you through the plan, because we're not just building a $1 million business. We want to build a $1 million life, because anybody can get to $1 million a year if they're just willing to grind themselves into the ground. I mean, that's where my agency was. I was doing multiple 7 figures a year, but I was working 14-hour days, never saw my wife, barely spent any time with the kids. We went on holiday, I'd be on the laptop the entire time, constantly on the phone. The worst was when my daughter was on FaceTime to her grandpa, and I overheard her saying, "Oh, daddy doesn't love us because he's always in his office working," right? I mean, that broke my heart. What type of life is that where you've made all that money, but you can't even spend it with the ones that you love the most? And so Now my relentless focus is on building that $1 million life and helping my clients do the same by focusing on three very specific things. The first thing is profit. And when I say profit, I mean money that you actually take home and put in your bank account. Because you're going to hear a lot of people in this space, they're going to talk about their big numbers, but it's always revenue numbers, right? They don't tell you that, ooh, I made $500,000 this month, but I spent 350 grand on ads, 65 grand went to my closers and my setters, and I might have taken home 20K, 30K, 40K, right? So when we talk about profit, it is money into your pocket after taxes at the end of the month. Then purpose. This one's a really big one for me because it's so important that you are working on what you are called to do. Like God put you on this earth to do something, and that is your purpose. And you want to be aligned with your purpose at all times. It makes everything else so easy because it's going to get hard, right? Running your business is going to get hard. You're going to want to quit. You're not going to want to get up. You're not going to want to push forward. When you've got a purpose about what you're doing, you can push through any of the hard times that you're going to get as an entrepreneur, because we know being an entrepreneur is not easy, right? Not everybody's built for this, but having a purpose gets through some of those dark times. And then finally, peace. Okay, peace is so important. When you are able to make decisions about your business, about your life, about your finances, about everything, when you're able to make those decisions from a place of peace, you are just way more, you make much better decisions, right? And so we want a business that works for you. One where you're not stressing out about finances, where you're spending time with the ones that you love. And, if you want to take a vacation for 3 weeks, you can, and the business still grows, okay? So those are the three things. Now, hey, if this is not what you want, right? If you want the big team, all the noise, the Miami bro lifestyle, if you want all that stuff, right? Okay, you probably want to click off this video because I'm not the one that's going to be teaching you that. But if you want to build the kind of business that we're going to talk about here, right? Profit, purpose, and peace, and you want to build a business that doesn't require you to become someone that you don't respect, this is what we do, this is what I do, and this is what I help my clients do. And so there are three things that get in the way of this kind of business. And we're going to break these down now. And so the first one is you're always one bad month away. And the struggle that I really found when I was trying to build the business that I wanted was that every guru, every coach, every person I hired was always talking about sales, marketing, conversions, delivery, all surface level stuff, right? But that wasn't the real problem. Like the real problem, like I wanted to solve the real problem that I was dealing with, but everybody's telling me about all the other surface level stuff. The real problem what I was dealing with was you're always one bad month away. And maybe you can relate to this. 2 clients cancel. Facebook shuts your ads down. Instagram shadow bans you, right? A chargeback hits. All of these stuff that are completely outside of your control, but can completely tank your month. I wanted to get rid of that problem. I never wanted to be in a scenario where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 1 month away. And so that was one of the first problems that we're going to solve. Next one is getting clients has too much friction. And if you've been doing this in this game for any length of time, maybe you've noticed, okay, it's getting harder to get clients, right? It was so much easier to get clients a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Why is that happening? And the reason it's happening is because the bro funnels, which is what most people are doing, they just don't work with the market anymore. And I'm going to go into more details about specifically what's happening. And then finally, your income is chained to your time, okay? We want to decouple your time from your income so that the way that most businesses run at the moment is if you want to make more money, you need to put more time in it. So as you make more money, you have to work harder, right? We want to be able to make more money and actually work less. And so to do that, we need to decouple you from your time. Now, if any one of these three is true for you, you're only one bad month away, getting clients has friction, or your income is chained to your time, let's talk about the solution. And when I rebuilt my business on 3 operating systems, and each one designed to solve these 3 problems. So as we go through this, each system is going to have 3 engines, and I want you to grade yourself across the engines because this way you're going to know exactly where you're at and what the most important thing for you to tackle first. And so firstly, if you red, that just means it's not good. Then we've got amber, which means you need work. And then finally green, you nailed it, right? So pretty straightforward. As we go through each engine, just give yourself a grade on that. Now, the first system that we install is your Bio OS system. And the goal here is to get buyers every single day. Now, there are 3 parts, there are 3 engines in this system. The first one is capturing attention. If you ever felt invisible to the people who would actually give you money, you can start to get the right type of attention by creating buyer content. And I do this with something called magnetic messaging. Magnetic messaging is messaging specifically designed to attract buyers, not just an audience. I was posting multiple times a day on Instagram and I just wasn't getting any clients. My account was growing. I was getting tons of views. I'd got up to 50,000 followers at one point, but absolutely no clients. And so I took my offer, I took my ICP, and I took everything that I believed in, like my personal bio, and I put that into Claude. And what Claude did was it created content for me, or it gave me content ideas that were very specific to getting attention from those buyers. And now I get way fewer views, but my Instagram content drives about $30,000 to $50,000 every single month just from Instagram. And that's just by focusing on magnetic content, magnetic messaging. And so my question for you is, did at least 5 people that you've never met DM you this week saying that you described their exact problem, right? Most people are an amber on this because they're getting attention. They're just not getting attention from buyers. So the next engine is we have to own your audience. This one's a really important one because your followers and subscribers do not belong to you, okay? They can be taken away from you at any point. And if you're building your business or on someone else's platform, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, if you're building your business on somebody else's platform, you're vulnerable. And like every tenant knows, your landlord can change the rent whenever they want. They can evict you. They can change the rules, right? There's a lot. You don't have the same level of security. I posted this on my Instagram a few weeks ago, and it was about Matt Rife, the comedian, who'd grown his following on TikTok to 20 million followers, but he was having a problem where he was posting, but he couldn't get in front of his audience. And so he reached out to TikTok and said, hey, guys, I've got 20 million followers, but none of them are seeing my content. What's up? And TikTok straight up said to him, hey, we've changed the algorithm. We're not pushing comedy content anymore. And so he's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with my 20 million followers? And he said, well, just stop posting the new stuff. So his 20 million followers are now basically useless. So that highlights the importance of the audience that you build on these platforms. It doesn't belong to you. And so we obsess about owning our audience through email and SMS, getting our followers, our subscribers off of the platform and onto an audience that we own. I helped my client AD do this. He was only posting on YouTube and Facebook, and that's where he was making all of his money. Eventually he got banned because everybody will have that issue at some point, but he was still able to make $1.6 million that year just from email and SMS. And so the question for you, ask yourself, if all of social media disappeared tomorrow, how many of your current followers could you still reach directly, right? So give yourself a grade on that. Most people are going to be a red here. Like if all of social media disappeared, how many of your current followers could you still reach directly? And what percentage of that? Give yourself a grade. The next engine is activating customers. Now, a business that's built on leads can't produce cash on demand. And selling to leads is 80 times harder than selling to customers. Most of the market is teaching you to create lead magnets or just drive leads into your business. The problem is the leads can't produce cash on demand, and it's 80 times harder selling to leads. And when I talk about cash on demand, your business should be a financial asset. And so you should be able to look at your business and say, well, I need 20 grand, I need 50 grand, and be able to just produce it whenever you want. I remember my mentor, this was back in like 2014, 2015. He really drilled this into my head. Like, Chin, you've got to focus on customers. And so I remember this really hit home for me when my mother-in-law, she had a financial problem, and she reached out to my wife and she was like, hey, I've got this issue. I need 17 grand. Can you guys help? So my wife said to me, hey, like, listen, mom needs 17 grand. I was like, all right. Went to my email list, wrote a short email promo, like 2 or 3 emails, made $22,000 that weekend. And the only reason I was able to do that is because my email list was full of customers. And so we fixed this with your customer activation engine. And the great thing about AI is that you can build this with one click using Manus, which is one of my favorite AI platforms. And so an owned audience of customers is a renewable financial resource, okay? Because once you've got an owned audience, which we built in the last engine, and it's an owned audience of customers, you can tap into it whenever you want to generate cash. This customer activation engine is one of the things we installed for one of my offers, and we brought in over 120,000 customers last year. What would 120,000 customers do for your business, right? You're launching an offer. You're launching a new program. You got a tax bill, right? You got an emergency and you need to make money. You just send an offer to your list, and if it's all customers, then you'll make significantly more revenue. The biggest, smartest entrepreneurs and operators in this space, they all do this, right? They don't talk about it much, but they all build their businesses on customers, because customers, and you're gonna hear me say this all the time through all my videos, One customer is worth 1,000 leads. And so, question to you, if you sent one email to your list right now with just a checkout link, how much money would you make? Okay, send an email to your list with just a checkout link. How much money do you make? Okay, and give yourself a rank, give yourself a score: red, amber, or green. So those are the three things. Those are the three engines that we build: capture attention, own your audience, activate customers. And you do those three, and once you've done those three things, you will be getting buyers every day. You get buyers every day, you can basically kiss bye-bye to financial anxiety forever. You will never have to worry about money again. Now, BioOS is the foundation. Install that and you're well on your way to that $1 million life. But the next thing we want to build is our client OS system, because we want, the milestone here is easy mode clients, because we want to be able to get clients as easily as possible. And the first engine in here is we want to build a flagship offer. It's harder to get clients. And if you've noticed that, or you're feeling like it's harder to get clients, people respond to your ads less often, you're getting more objections on your sales calls if you're doing sales calls, people don't want to pay in full, it's just harder to stand out. If you're experiencing that, the reason why it's happening is because bro offers, which is what everyone's been taught to create, these offers, they fight against the market. And this is a concept from Alan Soltanic. Your offer has to be in harmony with the market. Unfortunately, markets change. And so as markets change, so does the type of offers that are in harmony with them. Currently, right now, if you have to do a 45-minute sales call, you've got to handle objections, and you've got to do all this persuasion just to get 3 out of 10 people to say yes, that is a broken system. That is a broken model. And the reason why that model is broken is because it's the offers that are designed for that model are just not in harmony with the marketplace. And so we fix that as the flagship offer demand. And we want to basically do two things, right? We want to create an offer that's so clear and so compelling that you can write on a Post-it, give it to your client, or give it to your prospective client, and they go, yeah, I'm in, right? Now, the second part of this is that you want to make sure the pricing of your offer is structured in a way that it covers the majority of your expenses within the first week of the month. This is something that I helped my client Angela do. She's a private image consultant. When she started working with me, when I started mentoring her, she was only doing $30,000 a month. Now she's over $123,000 a month. And you can see that 75 to 80% of her revenue, of her income, is coming from the first 7 days. Like, when you've covered your ad spend, your marketing costs, your expenses, your life expenses, when you've covered everything you need to pay for in the first 2 to 3 days of the month, it changes the entire game. Because now you don't have to spend the month chasing clients. You don't have to spend the month trying to fill the pipeline. You can just spend the month fulfilling on the clients you've already got, and doing the things that will actually improve your program, building your personal brand, other elements of actually growing the business, not just chasing clients the entire time. And so the question for you is, will you have 100% of your expenses covered by client sales in the very first 7 days of the month? Okay, so give yourself a score. How much of your expenses will be covered within the first 7 days of the month? Once you've got your flagship offer, the next stage in getting clients on easy mode is selling one-to-many instead of selling one-to-one. The book a call funnel, right? The book a call business model is fundamentally broken, especially for where we are today in everyone's market. Okay, 14 calls just to hit $30,000 a month. That doesn't make any sense, right? That is complete madness. Starting every month from zero, constantly chasing clients. 3 years ago, my business ran on this exact model. I was doing dozens of sales calls myself. I was like on calls for 6 hours a day. Then I built up to the point where I hired a sales team. Then I had a bunch of setters. I basically had built a call center just to get to 50K a month, 60K a month. And it just didn't make any sense. And even now, it's getting worse because your audience has high agency. What high agency means is that most of your best customers, the buyers, they don't want to get on a sales call. They want to get the information, analyze their options, and then buy in a way that has zero friction. And so we completely remove the sales call funnel. After replacing my entire sales team with a one-to-many presentation and a simple Google Doc, I enrolled 64 clients into my $16,000 coaching program without getting on a single sales call. I haven't been on a sales call in over 2 years, and I'm never going back. This week, I closed a $130,000 deal just back and forth email, right? It's completely changed the game. This is how this is how the best buyers want to interact with you, and look, I'm never going back. So the question for you to give yourself a grade on is, how many clients have signed up in the last 30 days completely in autopilot without having to speak to anyone? Red, amber, green. Now, the final engine to get clients on easy mode is cycling through promos. And this is how you structure your promotional activity. Your audience will stop responding to you if you promote the same thing every single time, because not every single person on your list is going to be client material, right? If you look at your entire list, let's say you've got 2,000 people on your email list. Only 30, 40 of them are going to be high-ticket client material. What do you do with the others, right? If the only thing you ever pitch is the same high-ticket offer over and over and over again, you are leaving so much money on the table. And so what we do is we use promo cycles. Promo cycles allow us to rotate the things that we talk about, even though we are selling the same flagship offer. So our audience never gets tired, right? No matter when somebody joins our list, they're going to see us talking about something that's relevant and specific to them. And even people that have been on our list for a long time, they're not going to get burnt out of us pitching the same thing over and over again. And this is one of the key ways that I was able to help Joe cycle through promos and make his first $1 million month. Before cycling through promos, Joe was making about $500,000 a month, but he was just pitching the same thing over and over again and relying on running ads into his offer. We started cycling promos and he hit his first $1 million month. So your question I'll ask you is, can you tell me right now, without checking, exactly what promo you are running next Tuesday? Okay, can you tell me right now, without checking, exactly what promo you're running next Tuesday? Red, amber, green. So that's client aware. So if you build a flagship offer, sell one to many, and cycle through your promos, you will be getting clients on easy mode. Now, at this stage, after you install those two systems, you should be doing between 50 and 80K a month. The next stage to get us over that $100,000 a month stage is by installing the third operating system, which is Scale OS. And this will give you more money, but less hours. And this comes from a concept that I learned about when I worked with tech companies, the difference between growth versus scale. Most coaches are going to teach you how to grow your business. So you can get to 100K a month, but you actually have to put in more inputs. So your income goes up, but your inputs go up. Scale is growing your income without actually increasing the amount of inputs that you put in. And so you can get to 100K a month, but without actually doing more, and in a lot of cases, doing less. Most coaches teach growth, which is why you'll get to like $100,000 a month, but you don't see your family, right? You're stressed out. Your wife is a consulting widow. You go on holiday and you're on your phone the entire time. We don't want that. I don't want that from you. What I figured out and what I really focus on is scale. How can we increase your income without increasing any more time in your business? And so there's 3 engines to that. And the first one is productizing your IP. If your clients cannot get results without you personally being involved at every stage, it means that you are the product. We don't want you to be the product, right? If you're the product, you can't take a real vacation, you can't take any time off, you can't be sick, you can't grieve, right? If anything bad happens, you are tied into that. So we use the IP extraction protocol to turn your IP into scalable digital products. And this is how I went from an agency owner to a digital product owner. I was making multiple 7 figures with my agency, but as I said, I was working 14 hours a day. But in my agency, and if you are selling any type of information, any type of knowledge, right? In my agency, there was strategies, techniques, playbooks, SOPs, lots of different things that I would do on repeat for different clients. I took all of those systems, all of those activities, all of those strategies, all that knowledge, and I turned it into products. The first product I created was a paid advertising product for e-commerce businesses. So this is what I was doing on a daily basis. I was running ads for e-com businesses. So I created a digital product for like, hey, if you're an e-com business and you want to run your own ads, here's exactly how we do it. And that was the first product. Then I created one on conversion rate optimization. Then I created one on email marketing. And now I was able to scale and make more money without actually having to spend more time. Because if I did more client work, if I brought in more clients into my agency, that would require more time and resources, growth. However, if I sell more copies of my social media program or I sell more copies of my conversion rate program, it doesn't require anything else from me. And I make more money without more inputs, scale. And so the question is, if we 10x the amount of clients that you had in your business tomorrow, would it break your business? Okay, give yourself a grading on that. Most people, if we added like double the amount of clients, they wouldn't be able to handle the delivery. You want to be able to 10x, 100x your clients without it making any difference into the amount of time and effort that you're putting in. And so one of the things that directly relates to this is personalizing your coaching. The number one complaint that clients have about coaching program is that it's not personalized enough. If you've ever opened up Stripe and you've seen like 2 people canceled, or somebody sent you that email and you've read it and it's like, hey, really think you're a great coach, love the program, it's just not for me right now, I need to cancel, or can I get my money back, right? If you've ever had that email, or you've looked at your Stripe and seen 3 people cancel, 5 people cancel, the number one reason people cancel is because they don't feel like the coaching is personalized enough, tailored to them. When I get coaches come to me, one of the first things they say is like, hey, I was in this coaching program and I was put on a group call with 200 other coaches and I didn't get any personalized attention. When I did get attention, it was just cookie cutter, generic information that just wasn't relevant to my business at all. That is the number one complaint. And so we want to fix that with our client GPS. And so imagine how a GPS system works, okay? You've got the satellite, it can see the entire Earth. But when somebody puts in a destination on GPS, they don't get shown every possible route. They don't get shown the entire earth. They get shown a very specific route to get to their destination as quickly as possible. That's what we do with client GPS. And that's what you do as the coach or the consultant who can see the entire picture. Every single client needs to have their own specific route to their own specific journey. It doesn't mean that you recreate your entire program and customize it in 20 different ways, but it means that when you can see the whole picture, you design programs that are personalized to each individual person. And so my question is, can every single client that you've got right now tell you what they're working on this week and where they're going next? Because clients quit when they don't know what they're doing, they don't feel like it's personalized, and they don't know what's coming next. So give yourself a grade on that. Now, the third engine for you to get more money with less hours is amplifying with paid ads. One of the most dangerous places you can be as a coach or a consultant or expert is where your acquisition system is you, okay? Posting daily, going live, doing reels, doing YouTube videos, right? If that's the only way that you get clients is through organic, the moment that you stop, the money stops. Look at all the biggest coaches. They all run ads because ads give you control, right? Ads give you control about how much money do you want to make. If you want to make an extra 10 grand this month, you can dial it up. But we want to be able to do ads properly. And so if you don't control your acquisition, you don't control your business. And paid ads amplify the content that drives sales. So we always start with organic, right? We start with content because once we find content that works, then you want to amplify that working content with paid ads. That way you can reach more people and you can increase the reach beyond what you do. Now, if you've got a great ad that's working really well, hey, you don't have to create any content now. This is the core reason why myself and my clients, we can take 2-3 weeks off and not see any change in our business because of paid ads. And when it comes to paid ads, the fear is, well, how much money do I spend? I don't want to lose money. But we live in some amazing times, right? We used to have to do paid ads all manually. Now with something like Manus, which essentially runs 90% of decisions and automations in my paid ads, I'm able to spend $1 and get $10.60 back. So you can see my ad account for one of my offers for this year. We spent $27K and made $294K back. So at a 10.6x return on ad spend. Now I can't take all the credit because like I said, Manus AI is making 90% of decisions and automating everything. And this is amazing because it gives us the control of just dialing up acquisition or dialing it down whenever we need. So the question is, if you stop posting on every organic channel for 90 days, would you still get clients? Most people are going to be a red here because they don't post for 90 days, they're not getting any clients. And so when you install Scale OS, you productize your IP, you personalize coaching, and you amplify it with paid ads, you will make more money from less hours. So here's what we've just done. We've basically walked through the 9 engines across 3 operating systems to get you to that $1 million life. And we have a business health check, okay? So for you, you're going to have given yourself scores across all those different engines. And some of them are going to be green, some of them are yellow, and some are red. The reds are basically where your business is bleeding. And this is also the areas that you want to focus on for the next 60 days. This is where the 60 days of work should go. So I want you to look at this and think, okay, what do I want to focus on the next 60 days? And for each one of these engines, we have a specific strategy, a specific system, and a specific playbook to unlock it and remove that constraint. And that's what I do with my clients. We go through this process, we figure out exactly where their business is holding them back, and then we install all of those systems so they can get buyers every single day, they can get clients on easy mode, and they can scale and make more money with less hours. Now, if you want to find out what it would be like to work together, where we install all of these systems into your business, I have a private one-on-one mentorship program called The 100. It's not group coaching, it's nothing like that. Like we work together one-on-one to install these systems in your business so you can have that $1 million life where we can grow your business up to $100,000 a month while you're only working a few hours a day and you're not burning it out, you're not sacrificing the time with your loved ones for it. If you want to learn more about that, just go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram at I am Chin Gregory. DM me the word harvest because that's what we're trying to get you to. We're trying to get you to become a harvester where your systems, your business makes money for you while you don't have to be involved. So DM me the word harvest on Instagram. We'll have a quick chat. I'll send you all the details, like no sales call. You'll be talking directly to me. And if it makes sense, then we can explore what it'd be like to work together. But either way, you've now got a protocol and you've got a diagnostic for your entire business. Identify which areas need the most amount of work for you to focus on the next 60 days, and then get into the process of starting to fixing those areas. If you don't want to do this by yourself and you want my help one-on-one, just reach out to me on Instagram at I am Chin Gregory, DM me the word harvest, and I'll send you all the details. But that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.